This is Dolynny TV, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, and welcome back to another edition of Edmonton Oilers discussion. And today, out on Sportsnet.ca, our head coach Dave Tippett speaking with Mark Spector on kind of how the Oilers go about getting better defensively in the upcoming season. Because the question posed by Mark Spector in his article today, Oilers defense remains a question mark after offseason moves. And I think as everybody is asking about goaltending, the defense is a lot bigger of a question mark to me than goaltending. Because honestly, if you get steady Eddie defense and you get guys preventing goals aren't going to go in as easily on a goaltender. And obviously, you think about a guy like Mike Smith, the best way to prevent goals on Mike Smith is to protect him from having to face shots and protect him from having to stop goals, essentially, right? Honestly. Why worry about the quality of your goaltender when you can worry about stopping every single puck in front of you? And that's good gap control. That's good sticks in lanes, bodies in lanes, pushing guys out of lanes. That is every little bit of essential defensive hockey. That's what the Oilers need to do to be a better team defensively and goaltending wise in the 2021 season. Now, the fun part about this, it's really fun because again, it brings up the playoff question or post-playoff question from Mark Spector about how Draisaitl and McDavid need to be more defensively responsible, more defensively engaged. And to a degree, that is very true, right? Is essentially if you're going to have less goals go in 5-on-5, because the Oilers were an incredible team on the penalty kill, second best team on the penalty kill in the regular season. So we weren't bleeding goals there. It was 5-on-5 that was the problem. Or at times 5-on-4 as well, as you saw some very terrible shorthanded goals. But the key is maybe not a question of Draisaitl and McDavid themselves need to buy in. The entire team needs to buy in. And honestly, we've seen at times in the 1920 season when the team entirely buys into let's defend and create offense out of defense, create offense when offense is there to be created. We saw spectacular stretches of play from every single Edmonton Oiler in a couple of string together nights, right? You think about that opening season stretch, right? Mike Smith's in net, 5-0. Well, you know what? Yeah, some of those games weren't the prettiest, but the Oilers were able to clamp down when it counted and get the job done. Well, okay, you think about that. If they can do that and survive not pretty play, and then all of a sudden clamp down a little bit more defensively 5-on-5, my goodness, suddenly we've got ourselves a team that could be really dangerous. Because you look at the Oilers and what they did in free agency, they added offensive firepower, right? Yes, Puljujärvi, one of the top scorers in the league. Okay, so he should be able to produce in the NHL if all the fancy guys' math to NHL equivalency is correct. So that should be bolstering our third line or first line, wherever you have Puljujärvi invited into the Oilers lineup. I'm leaving that open to you. So that should boost the lineup. Good, perfect. Then you have Kyle Turris, who is the most legit third-line centerman we've had since Ryan Strome, and hopefully won't have that weird 18 games, 2-point situation Ryan Strome had in 18-19. Checkmark, more offense. Now you have Tyler Ennis added to the lineup for a full season. Well, that gives us a left wing that should be capable of producing offense as long as that leg is good. Checkmark, more offensive firepower. On the defensive side of the puck, you've got more offensive firepower, which I've been crying for a lot of years in Tyson Barrie. And if he can score goals, make that first pass, do some good things, we should be able to see Tyson Barrie have a positive impact. All that said, you can't all the time outscore your problems. So if you have an entire group buy in and play defense 5 guys back in the defensive zone, you can really have a difference making kind of defensive scheme that really allows a dynamic offense to just feast on opponents, right? Why? I guess the question would be, why win a game 5-4 when you can easily win it 5-2, right? Rest a little bit in that third period and play that tight defense, but don't be pressing so much for the offense because next goal wins. That would be the theory. If you can go up, stay up, maintain up, and not have to press to stay up, you're doing a lot better than if you're pressing to stay up all game because you're just not committing back to being on defense. And I mean, like I said, that does bring up the Mark Spector question of Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid's defense, but why single them out when you can just say 18 guys a night in the lineup have to all be back? I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're Darnell Nurse. I don't care if you're Chris Russell. I don't care if you're Joakim Nygard. I don't care if you're Connor McDavid. I don't care if you're Zach Kassian. I don't care if you're Jesse Puljujarvi, all right? Whoever you are in the lineup, if you are committed to the defensive game, Dave Tippett is a coach proven that when his players are committed to a defensive game, magically good things happen. Combine that with the offensive firepower the Oilers have on a power play and 5-on-5 with guys like Connor McDavid, Nugent Hopkins, Yamamoto, Draisaitl. Yeah, don't forget about him. Now Tyler Ennis, Kyle Turris. You've got Jesse Puljujarvi back. You've got wild cards like Zach Kassian, who if he makes a hit, pokes a puck free, you just don't know what's going to happen. Then you've got on the back end Darnell Nurse, Tyson Barrie. If Adam Larson could ever hit the net with a shot, you've got shot power there, right? There is so much potential for everything to go right if the Oilers just buy in to the full game that Dave Tippett knows they're capable of playing. And here's the thing. A quote from Dave Tippett in the article from Mark Spector that I referenced right off the top. The biggest thing for me is we can defend better. 5-on-5 as a group, we have to defend better, Tippett said. It's not on the defense, not just on the forwards, it's as a group, and that's what I've been explaining this whole time. I think we can be a better defending team, and if the goaltenders are steady, that's the thing here. The goaltenders don't need to be spectacular for the Oilers to be a 48-win team. If the goaltenders are steady, the Oilers can easily win a lot of games if they commit to playing defense as a group. And we defend better as a team, we can keep some pucks out of our net. And let me tell you, all of a sudden, you talk about 1-goal games and you keep some pucks out of the net, suddenly 1-goal games end up being 3, 4, 5, 6 extra wins in a season. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you go over to the OilersNHL.com website, I should have this stat off the top of my head based on how much I talk about the Oilers every single day. But if you talk about the Oilers, an extra 6 wins this season in 71 games played, guess what? That is a 43-win season in 71 games. And guess what? 6 extra wins? Okay, take out that you got an overtime points, so you're probably looking at 13, 14 extra points. Well, suddenly you're looking at 97 points in the West if the Oilers just allow, okay, they allowed 217 goals, say they allow 208, right? 9 less goals. Guess what? That might be the margin of difference that allows the Oilers to win 5 or 6 extra games or squeak one out in overtime or whatever, and suddenly you're looking at that margin of error of 12 to 14 points. Well, suddenly that's tops. That's number 1 seed in the Western Conference this season. So you suddenly see how dramatically just even allowing 9 less goals. We allowed 217 against this year. Allowing 9 less goals in a season can make a difference in terms of where you finish in the standings. So I'm not asking for a defensive revolution. I'm exactly asking what Dave Tippett asked at the start of the 1920 season. Let's commit to defense as a group. Let's play it all season. We have the offensive firepower to do the job and win a lot of games in the NHL. If we can just prevent a couple more goals from going in our net, my goodness, we will be sitting pretty no matter what the situation for the 2021 NHL season looks like. The Oilers have a good chance as a committed group to playing defense and getting steady goaltending. I'm not asking for 225 goal against average out of Mike Smith. I'm asking for 275 and a 905 save percentage. The Oilers suddenly, my goodness, yeah, mop it up. They are looking very, very good by the time the season ends next season. So, right? It's not a hard concept to get. And I get it. It's a touchy subject in Edmonton because everybody feels like Connor McDavid and Draisaitl shouldn't have to do any defense or this or that, or wherever your views on the defense, or the Oilers defense should all be paying guys $8 million a year to only play defense, or however you view defense in the NHL, I guess the question is, there is a system Dave Tippett likes to deploy. If Dave Tippett gets buy-in from every single player in the Oilers locker room, there is no doubt the Edmonton Oilers win, 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 win. The Oilers goaltending duo is capable of winning games, all right? That was proven last year. We finished second in the Pacific Division. Now suddenly you remove a couple of goals, upwards of 10 goals against in a season, and suddenly you're in first place by some weird off math. Well, okay, there you go. Or the Oilers aren't beat down 8-2, they only lose 5-2. Right? You can spread those 10 goals wherever you like, but it makes a difference all the way around. So guys, I'm Tyson, this is Dolynny TV. I've left you a lot to chew on. Get chewing on it. Let me know in the comments section if you believe the Oilers should play defense as a group, or if you believe it's up to 6 guys and 6 guys only, and the goaltenders are useless, so it's up to 6 guys and to hell with the rest. I don't know. Guys, figure it out in the comments. I'm up on out of here. Thanks so much for tuning in.